Welcome to BSI webinar on Unlocking Potentials, Top 5 Growth Opportunities for Management System Auditors. I am Xiu Yin, your host for today. Our speaker for today is Mr. Poon Cheong Yuen, the APAC Training Director at BSI. Based in Johor Bahru, Malaysia, he is leading the growth of training business for BSI in APAC. With over 20 years of experience in various leadership roles within BSI, including as Country Managing Director for BSI in Malaysia and Deputy Group Managing Director for Naval Club International in China, which was subsequently merged with BSI. Mr. Poon has been instrumental in driving strategies in enhancing business performance, integration, and market presence. Without further ado, I'll hand over to Mr. Poon to share more about himself. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So, first of all, let me just welcome all of you to join this webinar. I was really excited when knowing that I was invited to come to this webinar to share the growth opportunity for management system auditor. Because to me, I'm really a passionate auditor because my whole career, my whole the whole learning journey in my personal learning journey is all about management system related. So as what introduced by Xiu Yin, currently I'm the training director for APAC. And in BSI Group APAC, we have operating offices in 13 countries, as you can see the name. So I believe some of you are coming from this region, some of them from all these countries. So a very warm welcome to all of you. A very quick background about my relevant experience in this world, because it's very important that I like to highlight some of my past experience. So I'm actually a hands-on professional in this, as I mentioned, in this management system auditing, training, and consulting for more than 20 years. And I'm actually the CQI registered principal QMS auditor for more than 15 years. Very interestingly, my first lead auditor training, I actually attended during my post-degree when I did my master degree in one of the universities in UK. So during that time, one of the professors actually ran a training firm, and he actually offered a discount to the student to attend the lead auditor training, and I go for it, and that's how inspired me to go for this journey. And I was the approved tutor for the CQI ILCA QMS registered lead auditor training, and personally I've delivered more than 50 sessions of the lead auditor QMS training across the APAC region. Maybe some of you have seen it before, some of you not, but it's okay. But today I think my main purpose is to share with you the growth opportunity. And I think before I move on, a very quick kind of a definition, because when we talk about management system auditor, there's a lot of question coming, is that which management system auditor that you're referring to. Now, in a very generic definition, what is management system auditor? We can refer to 19011. We can categorize as 3 categories, as you can see here. The first type we call as a first-party audit. That usually refer to internal audit. I believe some of you coming this webinar, you could be an internal auditor, means that you are trained, and eventually your task is to perform cross-functional, cross-department audit, and that's mainly on internal purpose. That's what we call first-party audit. And we also call the second party, as where you can see the diagram here, is between customer and supplier. Means that, for example, you work for an organization, you have many suppliers, supply chain, subcon, and you are tasked to audit them on the system compliant when they supply their service or product to you. So when you audit your supplier, you are actually performing a second party audit. And of course, the third party audit referring to organization like BSI. We are not supplier and customer relationship. We are being employed as a third party to perform an independent audit of your management system. For example, in this case, it's based on the ISO 9001. So this is what we call a third party auditors. Now, for the purpose of this webinar, when I refer to management system auditor growth opportunity, is applicable to first party, second party, and third party. So I think that's one thing very important to help us to align the whole understanding. Now, before I move on, I actually prepare a simple poll, just like a morning exercise or afternoon exercise for all of you, because I'm really keen to know where you're from, because you are listening to this webinar. So it's a very quick poll, just to let you familiar, because subsequently I have 2 more polls that really need your input. The first poll that I really need your participation is to let us know where you're participating in this webinar from. So either you're from ASEAN country, we have 6 countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam. So you take the ASEAN, and then you're from other APAC country like China, Hong Kong, Australia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, New Zealand. So that would be APAC. And you are actually dialing in from out of this APAC region, so you can take others. So can we just take a look on the outcome from this quick poll? Wow, we have 66%. Wow, that's thank you for your participation. Look like everyone is an expert in using this online portal nowadays. So we have 66% coming from ASEAN country. Welcome, thank you very much. We have another 33% coming from the other APAC region. Welcome. And we have 1% coming from other regions. So thank you very much for your participation. At least I know who I'm actually sharing with. So let's move on. So we know management system auditor involve auditing in first party, second party, and third party. And the purpose for this webinar is to look into the top 5 growth opportunity. All right, there are many growth opportunities, trust me. As a management system auditor, if you are doing the auditing itself, or you are actually planning the auditor training program for your organization, what I can share with you is that it's a very exciting opportunity for management system auditor to move on from your current role to the next. I think the first one I try to arrange in a diagram like you can see here from here. The first one is on diversification. Second is on building credibility, which is one of the very important criteria nowadays. People do not just know that you are auditor, they are asking that what's your credential? So why should I trust your audit finding and so on? So building credibility is another growth opportunity for auditor. Driving effectiveness is not just audit for conformance, it's whenever we have an audit finding, is really help the organization to go for effectiveness and efficiency. The next is talk about digital transformation. I believe all of you will agree with me. The pandemic, and now of course we are back to the norm, but they have accelerated the adoption of digital transformation in all aspects of our life, including auditing world. So we can talk more about how we can embrace digital transformation. And last but not least is talk about how we managing risk. Risk is another big thing. That's why I put on the last, all right? Because it's really something that makes a lot of difference in our audit finding. Are we really focused on the right thing? So let's start with the diversification. And again, I need to activate another poll again, just to do a quick survey, all right, with all of you. And the poll question actually is, sorry for that, is to asking all of you, how many numbers of management system certification your organization is actively holding? For example, your organization is certified with 9001 and 14001, you will answer 2. But if your organization is 9001, 14001, 45,000, then you answer 3, and so on. So I just want to know how many active certificate your organization is having. From that, I know that how busy you are. Whether you are doing auditing, whether you are doing system maintenance, or whether you are organized training for your organization, that having 1 cert and having 5 cert is a different issue. So let's have a quick click. I'm sure all of you are expert now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see the results from the poll. Wow, it's a very interesting kind of statistic. Let me just read out to all of you. So we have 20% with single management system certification. So means that you have either one cert, either 9001 or 45,000 or food or whatever. So we can explain that later. So you have one cert. We have 16%, 2 active certification. We have 29%, 3 active certification. We have 15% on 4, 6% on 5, and another 14% more than 5. I cannot imagine how many you have. To be honest, I have seen an organization is having 11 certification. I've seen that on myself, and the auditors are super busy. If they don't plan properly, so imagine 1 month for one internal audit, and it's about 11 months. So that's really serious kind of thing. So from here, we know that that's a good start for my next slide, because my next content is sort of like concrete. It's quite a common trend for an organization to have more than one management system certification. In fact, in BSI, our screening for potential new auditor, we are looking for at least 3 in 1. QEHS is a common trend. Then auditor is able to audit on 9001 Q, auditor is able to audit 14,001, and HS is talking about 45,000. It's quite a common trend for organization to have this 3, because it seems to be a norm for organization to take care of this 3 component. And as you can see on this diagram, the starting point is always start from compliant, right? It's either from top management, it's either from customer. Organization always look for certification to comply with all this requirement. And move on to the protection is where, if you happen to be a very sector-specific industry like food, probably this 3 standard is not able to help you, support you enough, because you are in the food industry, you need to talk about food safety. So food safety, we have many standards like 22,000. We have lots of food-related standards, or if you are in a built environment sector, or you are in a healthcare. So that's where the 4th cert or 5th cert will come in. And eventually, as you grow, as your organization grow, you then need to talk about corporate governance, you need to talk about local legislation, regulation, and that's where some of the law, I understand even some of the organization that ESG compliant is become like a governance things. So as all this come in, that's why we have more and more multi-cert situation coming. And this gives us a lot of challenges in managing audit program. For all of you are lead auditor before, you were, I believe you'll fully agree with me. It's like this picture that you're looking at like a big formula. So assuming that you have 5 management system standard, you need to audit internally. And all your auditor only carries single skill. So can you imagine how difficult for you to do resource planning? And the resource planning is not just for auditor, but it's also for auditee. So imagine some of the auditee, they could be very busy, day-to-day running a day-to-day operation. And today you talk about 9001, you need to interview me for 1 hour. Another day, you have another auditor audit 45,000. Again, you need to schedule time to talk to me. And that's really challenging nowadays. But imagine you have an auditor. If you are certified 3 management system standard and they are qualified to perform audit in 3 management system standard, you can have one dialogue, you have one conversation, you can cover all the audit scope. And that will make life lots of easy. And subsequently, it's not just about the audit conduct, it's about the effectiveness and efficiency on audit trail, right? When you ask a question and you audit QMS, and then the next question, you need to talk about information security. And that's another auditor. So your audit trail, when you move on, then you get halfway, all right? And reporting 3 different reports, 4 different reports, 5 different reports. And worst case, the follow-up, all right? The post-audit correction and corrective action and preventive action. And all this is definitely. So if you are a management system auditor right now, and you are only carry single skill, all right, my first advice to you is the first growth opportunity will be to equip yourself with multiple management system auditing. As I mentioned in BSI, we are looking for all our auditor at least 3 skills, at least 3 skills. So whether you're performing internal audit, whether you're performing second-party audit, your audit supplier, it makes sense for you to have a multiple skill. So first growth opportunity, if you only a certified auditor on a single standard, is very important for you to pick up as many other auditor qualification as you can. So that move on to the first diversification. So first growth opportunity is that we need to diversify ourselves. We are not single skill. We need to go on to multi-skill, and that will make the whole audit more effective and efficiency. The next growth opportunity is on credibility. As I mentioned, credibility is a very important topic nowadays because the audit world the world is black, as I mentioned, that if you're performing second-party audit, your supplier can be everywhere in the world. Today, probably you have your office is in Singapore, but then you have a supplier in Philippines, in Australia, in China, in South America, elsewhere. So we are talking about the world is flex. So if you happen to need to do some cross-border audit, again, the question from your supplier or subcon will ask is that, who are you sending? Is your auditor competent? All right, are they able to, are they familiar with our industry? We don't want you to send an auditor that they don't know about what we are doing and asking a lot of questions that is not helpful, it's not value add. So the very important thing for management system auditor growth opportunity is to demonstrate that we are competent, all right? And that certification will help that I'm a certified auditor, I'm a certified professional. And having that certification, because most of the certified program will need some continual professional developments. Means that every year you need to attend some courses, you need to learn new skill, and then you need to submit all this log back to the certification body. And that's to ensure you are keeping up to date. And it's not just about auditing practices. The standard will have a revision, and there will be more standard coming in the world. So that's one thing that is very important for us to having a certified kind of program. And it's also boosting confidence from auditees. So when knowing that someone is coming and audit me, and this person is a certified professional, for example, certified lead auditor professional from BSI, I feel comfortable that this person should be able to perform a value-add auditing to my organization. And with here, this is where I would like to share with you, because knowing the needs from the audit world, we have launched a BSI Auditor Qualification. And now I just would like to share with you a quick videos just to give you some quick highlight about what is BSI Auditor Qualification.
A qualified auditor can help inspire trust in your customers by making sure that your products and services always deliver what they should. Effective auditing can bring a host of benefits to your organisation, whether that's cost savings, reduced waste, increased efficiency, or being more sustainable. Excellence isn't just about auditing for compliance. An expert auditor looks at how to improve. And that's where your skills and competence come in. You can demonstrate your value as an auditor by earning a qualification with BSI. We have a global team of auditors who deliver thousands of audit days a year. And we've used that expertise to develop auditor qualifications. You'll benefit from our trusted experience. By successfully completing set courses and assessments, you'll earn a BSI Mark of Trust, assuring confidence in your auditing expertise. You can choose from a range of standards, including quality, information security, or health and safety. There are 2 routes, depending on whether you're an internal auditor or a lead auditor. Then you'll progress through stages as your experience grows. As a practitioner, you'll prove you can audit for conformance and effectiveness. As a professional, you'll add extra value by auditing improvement initiatives. You'll learn to use trusted tools and techniques for process improvement. And by having your qualifications certified, you'll prove that your auditing skills are up to date. Start your journey today with a BSI Auditor Qualification.
I think that's give you a quick summary about BSI qualification. So in a nutshell, we do have a BSI Auditor Qualification if you are looking for credibility in your auditor management system auditor career. In a nutshell, as you can see the diagram beside, we actually have 3 levels. The first level start with practitioner. The second level go up to professional. And the third level go up to the highest level, which is certified professional. In a simpler terms, the next slide, I try to illustrate to you how it works. So again, earlier slide, the video, we know that 3 grade: practitioner, professional, and certified professional. So how it works, so I take an example on ISO 27001 internal auditor. So for someone that would like to be an information security management system internal auditor, so we have 3 steps to build your credibility based on our learning pathway. So it's something that will equip you with the needed knowledge as you move on. Step 1, in order to be a 27,000 internal auditors, you need to attend 2 training. First is on the requirements. For sure, you need to understand what is 27,001. And you need to pass that exam. And after that, you move on to the internal auditor training, which is 2 days. There will be another exam. So in order to have a 27,001 internal auditor practitioner, if you attended 2 courses and passed 2 exams, you can then receive a BSI mark of trust with this. And the beauty of this mark of trust that you can use this in your business card, social media, personal profile, whenever you want to communicate with a colleague, your supplier, and so on. Well, if you think that that's your first journey and subsequently you want to move on, we then have another 2 courses. You attend that 2 courses, you pass the exam, you then level up your grade from practitioner, move up to professional. And again, you have another mark of trust, carry professional words, and that's where you move on to perform more internal audit to accumulate your audit log. And when you think that the time is ready, you want to register, then that's where the step 3 to be a certified professional. Now, there's a criteria in this step 3 where you need to have at least 3 internal audit within the last 3 years from your date of application. Means that you really have a hands-on application how to perform internal audit on 27,001 in your organization. So you need to submit the audit log. You need to explain to us how you perform that audit. Once our board or assessor evaluate that that's all genuine, that's all really hard work, great work from you, we will then award you with certified professional on the internal auditor. Now, if you are keen on lead auditor journey, this slide is to give you the illustration on lead auditor. Just now is internal auditor. This is lead auditor. And lead auditor journey is similar, 3 steps: step 1, step 2, and step 3. Now, step 1, we have a 5-day lead auditor training. And in BSI, we have CQI ILCA registered lead auditor training. So you can attend the same CQI ILCA registered lead auditor training, but that's not the end. You need to attend our 27,000 requirement exam. And of course, if you attend CQI, the exam refer to the CQI exam. If you pass both, right, you successfully completed both courses, you will then get a practitioner lead auditor mark of trust. And again, you can use it on business card, social media, and so on. And if you move on to professional, another course you need to attend, pass 2 exams, and then you have another mark. In this case, it's not practitioner. You level up yourself to professional. And lastly, certified professional. Again, 3 audit. And this 3 audit it must be you are acting as a lead auditor for that audit program. And we don't require you must perform a third-party audit, because for someone working in the organization, it's very challenging for you to perform third-party. So as long as you are managing a comprehensive full system audit and you are managing a group of auditors, we can accept that audit log, and eventually you can apply to become a certified professional. And as I say, this will be one of the credentials, that credibility that you can show, whether to your potential supplier, subcon that you're going to audit, to your colleague if you are performing internal audit, or probably is someone that is really looking forward to be your career, move on to this management system auditing, this is definitely very helpful. And not only that, in BSI qualification, we are able to have a mechanism for real-time verification, because when we talk about credibility, one of the questions is that, how do I know your certificate is genuine? Because nowadays, all the certificate is soft copy, electronic copy. People yeah, I don't want to explain, but that's quite common. And of course, in BSI offices, almost every month we receive call from potential employer to check someone. Hey, is this someone really attend the lead auditor training from BSI and so on? So people having trust issue nowadays that whether this cert is genuine or not genuine. And in BSI, if you got our BSI qualification, we have a solution for you. Let's take a quick look on this blockchain solution. Okay, that's wonderful, right? You even can track who have viewed your share on the direct email and so on. So this really gives you the confidence that you can showcase your achievement with your network. And this is definitely one of the very useful credential that we talk about, right? That we can build that credibility within ourselves as a management system auditor. So that's on the second growth opportunity, not just a management system auditor, but is a BSI certified auditor, professional auditor. So that's one thing that we can move on. And the third growth opportunity is on driving effectiveness. As I mentioned earlier, nowadays, there's a lot of evolution on the management system audit world. I'm sure some of you, if you are in the audit world for quite some time, you will see the evolution from control-based auditing in the early day. So in the early day of management system certification, there's always a famous quote. It say that management system certification is about do what you document or document what you do. So as long as you follow what you document, you can certify. And that's the early day of control-based auditing. Means that when I enter organization, I will ask, show me all your document. And my job is to check you comply with each one of the document. And that's control-based auditing. That's past tense. That's over. And as the standard evolve, we move on to the process-based auditing. All right. The focus is not how many documents you are. We are looking at the processes rather than just a department document. So the processes involve interaction of different processes to achieve the desired outputs. And that's where it evolved further, that not every process are equally important. There are some process higher risk. We tend to spend more time. All right. For a process that not that high risk, probably no documentation needed. But for processes that is higher risk and our risk appetite cannot tolerate the risk exposure, you probably need hundreds of control points just to control on that process. And in risk-based auditing, we are here to help the organization to audit based on their risk exposure, based on their risk appetite, based on their risk management action. So there's always a famous quote from our management guru, Peter Drucker. He's always say, efficiency is doing things right, effectiveness is doing the right thing. So whenever this question being raised out, a lot of people say, hey, what's doing things right? What is doing the right thing? So basically is that when we talk about risk-based auditing, when we talk about a value-add auditor, our job is not just to hear audit, the auditee is comply with what they write, comply with what they define, but we will also question on their improvement. So today, for the same processes, you are having 10 steps to achieve it, all right? And every time you follow that 10-step, congratulations, you conform. But the question is that, have you ever challenged that you can complete that process within 5 steps? All right? Have you ever think about the improvement? A value-add auditor will come in to give that perspective, and that's what driving effectiveness is about. Now, when we talk about driving effectiveness, when we talk about driving improvement, it's always come with a famous 4-letter words, all right? Stand for PDCA. I'm sure all of you are expert on here. For those of you who are hands-on auditor, you will agree with me, in this PDCA audit cycle, the real challenge is not on plan, because most of the auditee, they are expert in planning. So when we talk about planning, everybody says, yeah, I have plan. I have plenty of plan. I can show you all my plan. And we talk about do, they can show you all their evidence that they are doing this, they are doing that, showing all the records. And action, again, they can show you all the follow-up action, correction, corrective action. But the key challenge, the real challenge for management system auditor is on the check. Because how do we know we are doing things right? It depends whether we do have a proper check, whether we take the real data, we take the process data to analyze whether there are certain trend, any statistic that we can take a look and see, identify improvement opportunity or effectiveness opportunity. And this is where if I come back to the BSI qualification on the step 2, if you look into this diagram carefully, what we are sharing here is no longer on the standard knowledge. What we are emphasizing here is on the process improvement. So it means that if you already move on to step 1, you know what is the requirement on 27001. You know how to audit internal audit. But on the step 2, it is to equip the auditor how to audit from process improvement perspective, with the intent that we can audit for improvement rather than audit just for conformance. So that's the intent for BSI. When we design the whole BSI Auditor Qualification, we are really focusing on the learning pathway to be an effective auditor. So the step 2 is very key, and that's really helpful for the auditor to move on to the next journey. And of course, if you are keen to move on to the next level, to be real expert that can comment whether their analysis, their data statistic is good or not, we do have a qualification on Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma qualification. This is the next level of growth opportunity for auditor to level up your knowledge and skill to the next level, that you can comment all their statistic and you can read their statistic and ask the next good question. All right. And this is very key, because if someone show you a chart and you don't know what is all this, I believe you will agree with me that sometimes you also start to a little bit of panic, because you don't know how to read the chart, and hence you do not need how to ask, you do not know how to ask the next good question to prompt the auditee. So that's about driving effectiveness. And that's again on BSI Auditor Qualification Program. We take note of that into our design, and that's helped our delegates to be well-versed on that perspective. The next is on digital transformation. So I just have another quick poll for all of you. Very quick one. I know all of you are expert right now. All right. That's a quick question, either yes or no. Is that, have you performed any remote audit? All right. If you're an auditor, have you performed any remote audit, meaning not face-to-face, through something like Zoom or Team and so on? Or you are being an auditee, you are being audited via remote audit. So the answer is yes or no. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much for your participation. So let's take a look. How many of you? Wow, we have 69%. Yes, answer yes. Means that you are either being audited via remote audit, or you have performed remote audit, and we have 30%, so 37. So that's what, 30% no, 70% yes. Thank you very much. This is a very useful technique response, which is again in line with this slide that is becoming a norm. As I say, the pandemic has accelerated everything, including the adoption of remote audit, virtual audit, and immersive audit. It become a norm. And this norm is not just about pandemic, and even now we are back to norm. There are many organizations, in fact, BSI certified client come to us and say that we prefer remote audit. Now, one of the reasons is because of, that's another important perspective from organization, is towards sustainable future. A lot of organizations are start to quantify the carbon footprint. So less travel means less carbon footprint, less contribute to make this world a better place to live. And that's a very important perspective for us to perform the remote audit. So you have a chance to perform supplier audit, or you are performing internal audit, but you have multiple locations in your country. Think about remote audit as one of your options, because there are risks on remote audit, to be honest, I must admit, but there are opportunity from the remote audit as well. All right, so let's look at that balance and see this, because the other thing we need to talk about is that as an auditor, we need to take note that there are increasing trend for auditee to have a virtual workplace or work from home. So even though you go there personally, you might be surprised. Only 20% of the workplace are at the audit location. Another 80%, they work from home or virtual workspace. So even though you go there personally, you also cannot see someone. Can you imagine that? So in a very simple nutshell, right? Of course, there are some differences between remote audit and virtual audit. Remote audit, we are talking about something like through Zoom, all right? You are auditee, or you turn on the camera. So I audit you, I ask questions, and then you show me all the evidence via a virtual platform like what we are having. Virtual audit is referring to a lot of organizations, as I mentioned, virtual workspace. Everything is stored in the cloud, all right? Virtual server, everything. So it means that as an auditor, we need to perform really a virtual environment to check whether their process approach, their risk-based approach, whether are in place or not. And nowadays, this is getting more and more complex. If you want to know in more detail, you can read that 19,011, as I always refer to this international standard to give us the best practices on management system audit. And live web streaming definitely is one of the common trend right now. And in fact, when I run the lead auditor training, there's always a lot of questions asked about what are the common strategies to sabotage face-to-face audit. Sometimes go for long lunch, long break, or whatever. But in a remote audit perspective, all right. So assuming your audit via Zoom or Team and so on, this is also one thing that you need to take note. So there are a lot of techniques you need to learn as an auditor, how to manage circumstances when you're performing a remote audit. When you're live streaming paired with a mobile technology, someone taking a virtual camera to move around the warehouse or iPad, someone put out a wearable device, as what you can see here, immersive audit, all right? So you ask that client person to walk around the work location, and then you then audit accordingly. And of course, nowadays, we have drone, we have all those satellite imaginary can make us to be more high-tech and be a more technology-driven management system auditor. So you can see nowadays, auditor really not that easy. The demand is getting higher and higher. And we need to know how to operate all this high-tech equipment. So another quick video just to show you in BSI, our immersive audit technology.
As our world increasingly faces the reality of overcoming the challenges of more unknown disruptive events, we believe that the technology of today can address the challenges of tomorrow. Embracing cutting-edge technologies immediately enhances the reach and efficiency of expertise, reduces carbon emissions, and helps to promote a safer, more sustainable and resilient world. Welcome to BSI Immersive Technology Solutions. Our solutions deliver the same trusted, proven approaches in groundbreaking new ways. BSI's immersive technology solutions are powered by our exclusive augmented reality platform. We combine best-in-class hardware and software to deliver a near-to-real-world experience in terms of image stability, directional microphones, zoom-in 360-degree pan functionality, as well as head-up displays and hands-free voice control. Immersive technology employed remotely accelerates response times, drives engagement, shares data, and enhances transparency throughout your organization and supply chain. This is just the beginning. We're placed at the forefront of predictive compliance as we integrate technology that will embrace artificial intelligence, machine learning, image recognition, and more. With this technology, BSI continues to pioneer the use of best practice to help build sustainable resilience and shape the compliance industry of the future today.
Interesting, right? So imagine you are the auditor for the future. Don't tell me you don't know how to manage this digital transformation. That's why I say another growth opportunity for management system auditor is to equip yourself how to embrace all this digital transformation in your audit practice. And last but not least, we are talking about risk. As I mentioned in the earlier stage, it's a very critical role for auditors in helping organizations to identify, assess, and manage risk effectively in multiple areas. All right. Whether the audit is value add or not, it depends whether we identify the right risk or the wrong risk. So if you look into the summary of 19,011, there are many, if you can find a lot of word risk appear to talk about the auditor's knowledge and skill expectation related to risk. So in a summary that we can always say about what is a typical business risk that we talk about. The first one, we can talk about strategic risk, right? For example, you probably launch a new product, but the new product is totally different from your previous product. So you're running a strategic risk that your existing customer won't buy it, all right? You are talking about very environment-friendly product organization, but you don't start to quantify your greenhouse gas. That's also a strategic risk. That the whole world is talking about ESG compliant, and there's nothing movement from our organization. So that's one of the examples of strategic risk. Financial risk. Financial risk before pandemic may be less significant, but pandemic give us the awareness, the importance of having a financial healthy. So when we look into the organization, if they are having a high debts, cash flow is their concern. So all those processes that carry a high risk area like account payable, account receivable, this type of thing are also off our radar, all right? Because there's also a question that whether the finance processes is under the management system auditor or not. So the question is that, do you having a financial risk? If yes, the answer is yes. The next question is operation, right? I'm sure all of you know this is either machine, human, all right? When you are having a trouble of lack of spare part, breakdown, lack of shortage of workers, all this is operation risk related. Compliant, as I say, for example, the health and safety law compliant, all right? Are you taking care about the health and safety for your organization? ESG compliant. And last but not least, a very common risk is called reputation risk. For example, you are probably manufacture organic product, and then eventually one of your raw ingredients are not organic. So even though your product is okay, but you're running a reputation risk, selling a nutrition food product, but you don't take care on that perspective. So this is just a simple category of what are the possible business risks. And nowadays, because of the cloud environment and so on, another common risk that affect all these strategic financial operation, compliance, reputation risks are related to the information security risk. Because all your system, data, employee data, customer data are in cloud storage, and whether that carry any information security breach or personal data protection breach risk and so on. So So who and how we're going to identify risks. And that's the two important useful guidance, which I can share with you. Of course, BSI as a national standard body, we publish standards. If you are keen on this standard, you can always come to us. There's two important guideline standards to talk about risk management. But in a nutshell, from 31,000 standard and 31,010 risk management techniques, they actually have listed out a lot of risk identification technique, risk evaluation, risk recording, risk reporting. There are many techniques that has been shared or highlighted in the standard. So another critical growth opportunity from my perspective for all my fellow management system auditor is to equip yourself with all this knowledge related to risk management technique, because we always assess risk when we interview the top management, that session. And the top management say, I've done my risk assessment, and this is a risk that to my organization. And sometimes they will show you some of the technique that they use. And if you're not familiar, for example, I saw the word Monte Carlo simulation. You don't know what is a Monte Carlo simulation. During the interview top management session, you don't know how to move on and ask the next question. Have you done the proper risk evaluation assessment? Is this really important risk for your organization? Because I'm going to base on your statement and perform the subsequent audit. And that's what risk-based auditing is about. So this is a very key knowledge and skill that for my fellow management system auditor, please, all right, to learn as many techniques as you can to be more knowledgeable and skillful as possible. And again, in BSI, we do have risk-related BSI qualification. We have business continuity. So if you are interested, you can take a look on BCMS, auditor qualification. We also have another famous new product we have launched last year, because nowadays, ESG compliant is not just a compliant, nowadays look like a risk. So we do have a 9-day qualification program to qualify some of you as a management system auditor to be greenhouse gas practitioner and greenhouse gas professional. These are equally important. So this is for your understanding in case your organization is moving towards this net zero or carbon neutral direction. So with that, I just summarize the top 5 growth opportunity, which all my fellow management system auditor, or if you are managing an auditor training for your organization, something for us to take note. All right. So with that, we now open to Q&A. So can I have my
screen? Yep. Thank you, Mr. Poon, for your insightful sharing. We do have a few questions from our participants.
Sure.
The first one is, how does management system auditor keep their skill relevant while organizations continue to improve and change?
That's a very good question. As I share in the top 5 growth opportunity, is about learning new knowledge, learning new skill, learning new standard, because the standard itself will have revision, will have a new relevant standard. So the only tricks for us is to keep learning, all right? Keep going. As a management system auditor, you cannot stay your current knowledge and then continue audit for the next 10 years. No, all right? I think if you want, we can always talk to how to support you, because we have all this training program. If you are keen to understand some of the standard, BSI, we do have the subscription on the standard to help you to read more standard, to understand on that. So I think that's something definitely a very important desire for a management system auditor. I hope it helped.
Thank you, Mr. Poon. There's another question about people aspiring to be management system auditor. 2 questions. The first is, what kind of personal characteristic you think is suitable for an auditor? That's the first question. And the second question is really, what advice would you give to people in how to choose the management system to focus on?
Okay, that's a big question. Now let me look into the first question, the personal traits. To me, I will list out the first top 2 in my mind, immediately in my mind. All right, in my career of being a management system auditor. The first one is stay curious, right? Because as an auditor, we cannot carry our own perception when we perform audit. When clients start to say something which is not your normal thinking, it's very important for us to stay curious and ask why. Right? If you do not always stay curious, you will then always carry your own perception to perform audit. That's the first one. And the second very important trait to me is the communication skill. That how you are going to engage the auditee, how you are going to, because the whole audit process is you talk less, but you listen more, right? So when you talk less, means that whenever you talk is a key question. Is a very important prompting question. So to me, that's an important skill we talk about. And what management system to focus? Again, I think I cannot answer on behalf of your management, right? Because that's on the risk perspective for your organization, whether what type of customer you are in, what type of business you are in, what type of environment they are in, from your risk perspective. For example, currently you don't look into the greenhouse gas, for example, but you are in an industry that you need to deal with a lot of customer from Europe, from America, and you know, in that world, everyone is talking about carbon neutral, net zero, and so on. You know, one day they will start to ask you, have you quantified your carbon footprint? So whether you want to start looking at now, or you want to start looking at when they start to ask you, so that again is your risk appetite. That are you in a good position to stay on the supply chain, or you are at a risk? If you are at a risk, you should start doing now, rather than when the customer start to ask for you. So I think that's a very important, interesting conversation with your top management as well, whenever we do the interview with the top management session. I hope it helped.
Thank you, Mr. Poon. There's also another question. How do we increase our confidence when conducting audit, especially internal audits where the auditee is actually our own bosses? Interesting.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Show your BSI Certified Professional badge to your bosses that you are certified professional with BSI. That probably give you the weightage. Just put joke aside. I think if you know what you are talking, right, you are not afraid who you are talking with, who you are auditing with. So prepare well, do all the homeworks, right? Study all the previous audit report, knowing all the past finding. If you have prepared well, I will give you the confidence that you can speak well with your bosses or whatever. Nothing about the position. It's about, are you prepared well? So that's my quick advice.
All right, we have a lot of questions, but maybe I'll pick another one or two. How do you manage risk of having not sufficient time in reviewing the NCR process?
How do we review risk? I think that's why in the first day of audit, when we do audit planning, the risk assessment is very important. That which one carry a higher risk to this organization, to our company, and what is our risk appetite? Means that the consequence if we are not fulfilling the objective. What will be the consequence? If the consequence is inconvenient, then maybe if I have not enough time, maybe I will just put it on the second category. But if the consequence is lost customer, lost revenue, lost sales, lost the market share, I will definitely find time to audit on it. All right. I don't think time is a constraint, but that's why I put managing risk as the very last but not least, a very key growth opportunity. If we all based on that perspective, we can always determine what is important, what is on top priority.
Thank you, Mr. Poon. We really receive a lot of questions, which we will have to respond to via email after the webinar because we are on top of the hour. Last but not least, I want to thank all the attendees for your attention and also Mr. Poon for his great sharing. Thank you very much and have a good day.